I remember seeing this viral video of the mom on the toilet with the door closed, and like everyone just keeps knocking on the door, asking for things. And then the kid comes in and like just doesn't knock, but opens the door and hands her a paper and is like, you need to sign this. And she's like, what is this? Like fully on the toilet. And she's like, I am pretty sure your teacher does not want me to be signing this right now and have the time.
Sometimes I go in the bathroom to hide from them.
You're giving them their space and you're
Yeah.
taking your space, but you have given them prime location, which is not the bathroom.
Right.
When I was in Boston, we were all staying in a studio. And so every night I would go into the bathroom and just sit on the floor just to have a little quiet time.
They should get in the bathroom. Actually, everybody in the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Sure.
What we do for our kids. In honor of our 50th episode, yes, 50, we can hardly believe it. We could not be more grateful. Today, to celebrate, we are revisiting our very first conversation with the incredible Karine Plantadit. At a time when the world does need a bit more hope and inspiration, we are so excited to share this heartfelt episode, one that overflows with love, with resilience, and with light. Enjoy.
Wonderful to see you, ladies. Wonderful.
It's so nice to meet you.
Karine, I met you last year and I was so drawn to your energy. It was absolutely magnetic. And I just knew as soon as we met that I wanted to be your friend. And I'm just so honored to have you here today, not only because of the fact that you are a new mom and because of your journey leading to this point of your life, but just because I think you are one of the most inspiring, vibrant energies I have ever met in my life. And so I'm honored to have you here today.
I'm very honored to be with you both and with your audience, of course, to speak about really important things as life-giving things. So once in a while you'll hear Ciel in the background, and my good friend Janine is actually taking care of him. Having said this, I do want to share that I am leaning on a tribe around me of friends that has shown up to show me that it was possible to be supported differently than if you were in a romantic, intimate relationship with whom usually people do have children. So I just wanted to bring this in because it'll come back eventually. My journey has been that I've been in the art most of my life. This is my first love, being a performer, it was being an artist more than just a performer. It was like the art of art, right? And dance was my thing. Dance was my thing from childhood, since I was in Africa and in France. And later on, as I moved and came to New York, it was understanding that I was loving the art because of the healing aspect of art, not just for me, but what I believe artists are. I believe they're healers of humanity. And I fell into being a healer using dance, acting and dancing. So I went all in because I'm really excited about peace in the world. So I was just like, I went balls to the walls on all levels. I was like, yes, let's do this. Alvin Ailey, yes, let's do this. Lion King was my first show on Broadway when we created the original cast, right? The actual show. So that was my first show on Broadway. And then after that, Saturday Night Fever, Moving Out, and then Come Fly Away, where I was Tony nominated. And then After Midnight, Only Gold was one of them recently. And then when I turned 40, I've always wanted to be a mother. This was always a thing. And then I turned 40, got nominated around 40, 41. And then I looked and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Did I miss the boat? Shit. So it became like a thing. It was just like, oh, shit. No, I'm good. My eggs are great. I'm great. We're making this work. So I started to actively working to make a baby. And that led me to doing regularly, I coerced literally a gay friend of mine to make love to me. I mean, this is like how far as I wanted to go. This was like, I'm going to use your sperm. I was kind of in a relationship, but not really. So it was kind of like, okay, confusing. And that thing also about going like, oh, I wait for the right relationship so I will be a mother, right? And then that relationship happened to be not quite what I thought it was going to be. But I was still in that thought about like, oh, but I'll wait for the right relationship. We'll get better and then we'll do a child, we'll make a child because that's the way it goes. And then one day, I'm a Buddhist. I've been a Buddhist, a Mahayana Buddhist for the past, 30 years or so. And I went to get a guidance from a senior leader. I was around 42, 43, and I complained about the relationship and I wanted to be a mother. And that woman said to me something so important. At the end of the session, she looked at me straight in my face and she goes, "You are the only one responsible for your dreams. No one is responsible for your dream." So I left the space and I was like, what does that even mean? I was so intertwined with the idea that only within a relationship can we do a child, but that was my dream to be a mother. So what happened? Like, how does that work? It still took me a good 5 years to figure this out. It took me 5 years to understand what that meant. I kept going. So I did insemination, artificial insemination. I did, of course, my gay friend to make love to me. We did that 3 times. It was very funny. What details I'm willing to give. Yeah, I was so into like, let's make this happen. And then when I turned 50, around before that, I just lost my dream. I lost the dream because I tried so many times and it would fall. I did go to a donor bank. I used some sperms, did the insemination and all that. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. And I finally dropped the ball fully. And I was just like, I'm just not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be a mother in this lifetime. And then so out of that came a conversation with a friend of mine. Her name is Radha Agrawal. And she's the founder of Daybreaker. I was working with them during the pandemic. And she's that igniting human being that comes to your life and kind of like shakes you a little bit. That was over. So she looked at me. I was like, I understand why you will be so sad. You wanted a child because I also wanted a child and I'm not going to have that. So she took my class and she felt so good after the yoga class, right? So she was like, I'm finally feeling in my body. And then she talked about motherhood. And then I was like, I get it. I'm feel the same way. I wish I could be a mother. And then she looked at me straight in my face. She was like, why are you not? And I was like, because I'm 50, my eggs are shot, it's done. And she was like, so you need eggs. And that was the moment of like, So I came back home with the intention to find out, can I carry a child? If I did get eggs from someone, which originally was not my thing, I was like, it's either I do it with my eggs, with my lineage, or I don't do it. And then I dropped the ball once the eggs were not good, right? I was like, okay, it's my eggs, boom, I'm out. But then all of a sudden, after chanting profoundly, I was just like, what's most important? Is it me carrying a lineage as a physical lineage, or me carrying a spiritual lineage,
Yes. Powerful. Oof.
It was that moment of going, so I apologized. I grieved. I remember I was in the shower where I realized that I will not carry on my physical lineage. And it was for some reason my African grandmother that I needed to say sorry to. That's for some reason it was her. So I spent a great amount of time just crying and crying in the shower, just like pouring water, just going like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to carry on your lineage. That was kind of a profound moment, like a turnaround. And then, but my lineage of a spiritual lineage is an important lineage because it's dealing with peace. And I'm so attached to peace that I was like, well, then who am I speaking about peace when I walk out of this lifetime where I did not actually raise someone who is dealing with peace that can carry, the journey of peace? I was like, oh no. So that was the moment I was like, okay, you're 50, let's figure this out. Can I carry? Doctor says, yeah, you have fibroids, but they're not in the cavity of the child. So we're good. And at that point, bam, I found eggs. I was going to use my friend's sperm. All was going to go great. And then out of all of that, I was like, okay, in a week from now, we're doing this. Everything was okay. And we were working on it. And I decided to go to Mexico to take a week in Mexico. So I will relax before my life will change completely because we were going to go forward. Well, a week before the retrieval of the eggs from my friend, and she disappeared, MIA, entirely gone. Call, nothing was going on. out of all of that, also my relationship was not doing great. And anyway, everything fell apart. Every single thing that I know fell apart. And then the vacation, the relaxing vacation in Mexico was coming. So I said to myself, just go cry your heart out. I felt so depleted. I felt so like lost, and I didn't know what to do. Like I lost my directions completely. So I went to Mexico, and I'm speaking to this friend of mine, explaining what just went down. I was like, I thought I was coming with hands full to start a new direction, and my hands are empty, and I'm lost completely. So she said to me, 10 minutes away from here, there's the fertility clinic that's very known in Cancun. Maybe I was like, why are you saying this? She was like, I don't know. So I took my phone, I looked for the GPS, I called, and I made an appointment the next day with this guy called Dr. Flores. I like his name too, Dr. Flower. I was like, that's kind of cool. Okay. So anyways, came out of the house, make a left turn, go to the place, meet the guy, spend half an hour, 45 minutes with him, explain my situation. I'm 50. I want to make a child. This is my body. This is who I am. This is, what do we need? He made an exam. He was like, your body is capable. And you will always know with me, if your body is not capable, then we need to find ways to make it capable. But I will never lie to you about what your body can or cannot do. So we left it at that. I came back to my friend, and she said to me, did you like the doctor? Did you like the clinic? She was like, don't you like it was all pink? And I was like, pink? I was like, that's not it. It was green. She was like, uh-oh. She was like, when you came out of the house, did you make a right or a left? I said, I made a left. She goes, no, it's the one to the right. The next day I went to the one to the right. And as soon as I entered, I was like, that's not it. It's not my clinic. My clinic was the one to the left, which I found completely at that point, I want to say this because at that point, the child is making decisions.
Choosing you at that time.
Absolutely. Choosing you and making sure you're making the steps that are necessary for them to come through. For me, in my conscious mind of just the mind, I would have followed and made a right when she would have said right, but it didn't go that way. There is a point I believe, to me, truly, in the child making, that it's in the connection between them. Once you establish that connection, then your direction is made not from a conscious head point of view. It really is, because at the end of the day, they need us to go walk a certain way so they can come through, right? It wasn't the clinic to the right. It was not going to make it. It was the left. Anyways, moved to the left, went back home, made the embryos. The embryos were completely made so basically my child comes from a petri dish. Like it literally comes from me choosing a donor mom, a donor, egg, and a donor sperm, which was an event just by on itself. Just figuring this out was very difficult. I mean, originally I was like, okay, well, I want my lineage in there. If it's possible to have some kind of black and brown, this will be nice. But the bank didn't have that. So I was like, well, fine, let's find the next coloring that I can find that is kind of looking like me. There was a Latino person from Dominican Republic. I was like, great. She had curly hair. I was like, oh, great. Curly hair is great. Latino, love Latinos. We're good. So we're grabbing this. And then for the dad, I was like, okay, no black and brown was available. So I was just, okay, great. So let me find something like my dad. My dad is French. So I looked for that. I was like, okay, let's get the French guy in there. Boom, get a French guy. They went on the petri dish, waiting for phone calls. How many eggs does the person have? Okay, 15. Okay, only 11 are viable. Okay, they're going into the petri dish with the sperm. Okay, where are we at? Oh, we got 9 embryos. Oh, no, 7 embryos now. Oh, no, yeah, 7. We're at 7 embryos. So it was like literally phone calls for 3 days of like, what are we having? I was chanting, oh, what is next? What is next? We ended up with probably 7. And then I went right away and did my first IVF with 2 embryos. This did not go through. This was my first one. It was in Mexico, in Cancun, with Dr. Flores. And this gentleman, Dr. Flores, talking about, that's another point that's important, surrounding yourself with the best people, meaning the people that are going to take care of you. I was absolutely alone doing that. There was no body but me going to the clinic on my own, doing what needed to be done. Do you understand? So I needed the staff to be so caring. And they were. They were. Because when I fell apart, when I found out that I wasn't pregnant, the doctor literally, first of all, did not say it on the phone. He said, "Can you please come to the clinic?" I came. They ushered me right away to him. It was during the pandemic, so he had his mask. He took his mask away. He put it to the side. He looked at me straight in my face and he said, "You are not pregnant. I am so sorry." He was like, "I don't know what happened. Your body was achieving all the landmarks. For some reason, you are not pregnant." So it was like this shock, because you have those 10 days. Do you remember the 10 days that you do the IVF and then you have 10 days? For the 10 days there, I went absolutely crazy, lost my mind. Went on the phone, went on Instagram, went on Facebook, went on all the things you should not be doing, I was doing. I was so stressed out. 10 days, I was like, "I don't understand. You just put the baby in there. It should be okay, right? I'm pregnant, right?" They were like, no, there's 10 days. I was like, "Oh no, 10 days, what to do?" So the doctor said to me something very important at the time. He said, "Karine, the results that you have today do not define you as a mother." And it was a moment where I heard it in my despair and my sadness. I heard it. And he said, "Please go home, rest your body, meditate, chant, yoga, do all these things that you do. And whenever you're ready to do it again, I'm here." 2 years passed, more or less, where I went back dancing. And I was kind of like, maybe I should. And I started to listen to other people going like, "You're too old. You're 53 now. You're too old. Who knows? Being pregnant is very difficult. Being pregnant is challenging. Giving birth, you could die. All those things were going on. And I started to actually listen. I was like, wow, maybe I should do a surrogate. Maybe, I keep my body like nice and sturdy and healthy. And I just do a surrogate. And then, I don't know, there was something about that was just like, I was like, so you're going to give up on your dream because of fear? That was a moment for me. I was just like, oh, so fear is going to stop you from achieving your dream. I was like, how's that? How's that at the end of your life that you actually see that? You look back and go like, wow, that day I gave up on my dream because I was scared. And I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm not going to live like that. I prefer actually to die doing my dream than to half live. You know what I mean? I just was like, no, I'm willing to go all the way. I'm willing to go all the way. So I called back the doctor. I was like, what's going on? I went on stage. I went back on stage, did, this show that I loved, and then went back and went to Egypt. I went to Egypt. And there I cleaned up my karma in my lineage, which needed to happen, something like, I was like, okay, let me clean up everything that I can clean up and transform everything with love, lots of love, lots of love. And then 5 days after Egypt, after being in the Great Pyramid, I went to Mexico and started the process. We did the process. My body was doing great. And then the 10 days arrived, those famous 10 days. But then I had made a circle of women right before I did the IVF. And we were talking about the 10 days. And also I realized, I was like, wait, 10 days, those are not 10 days to wait. They're actually 10 days to co-create. It's a whole other level. I was like, wait a minute. No. For the 10 days, I'm going to co-create with my child. So I went all out for those 10 days, and I recorded it because I felt like other women needed to know that. They needed to know that it wasn't a waiting game. In the waiting game, we're already victim. We lost. We're gone, right? But in the co-creating, you are empowered, in fact. So the co-creating for 10 days, let it be singing, dancing, composing song, poetry, speaking to nature, speaking about the things that you're going to do with your child, and spending the whole day with them, telling them about this, that, and the other. I literally went into this production. It was a production. Like, I was full. And so this 10 days, it was amazing. It was incredible. Up to 9 days, I did really good. And then on the 9th day, I took a dive. I mean, I'm talking about like this steep dive into the deepest doubt in my life, y'all. I mean, we're talking about, I literally, my mind started to F with me, going like, maybe the doctor is not a doctor. Maybe they didn't never put an embryo in there. Maybe my body was never capable of holding a baby anyways. Who do I think I am to be a mother? What do you think you are? Your body is 53. Everybody talks about it. It's too old to make a baby. What are you doing? I went crazy. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little secret about that day. I don't tell anybody this, but this is funny. I actually called a medium, 1-800, am I pregnant kind of a thing. Went online, paid that stupid money to this individual, and I asked her, am I pregnant? And she said, no. You're not pregnant. She said, you're not pregnant. Maybe next month, she said.
Oh my God. Maybe next month.
I hung up the phone and I was just done. I was like, and my dog was still with me at the time, Prince Henry, and I was in the car just booing, like, wah! It was hot. It was in Merida, one of the hottest places in Mexico. Hot, crying, devastated. I went back upstairs. I went to bed, woke up the next day, started to chant. And then all of a sudden I realized, I was like, wait a minute. Nobody can tell me if I'm a mother or if I'm not a mother. I say I am a mother. Even if the doctor tomorrow tells me you're not pregnant, that does not mean I'm not a mother. It might mean that I'm not a mother that way, but I am the mother of somebody. Okay, so that day was like such a switch of like between calling that person and falling, and then finally going like, no. Nobody tells me who I am. Not even the medical world can tell me who I am. That's not working, right? I was just like, okay, great. So then I went to the office, peed on the stick, and then the doctor came back and he was like, we got 2 stripes. So that was the moment of my the beginning of the pregnancy and all of that. Oh. And so I threw it all out. Yeah.
I have so many things to say about how, and I'm feeling so emotional hearing you talk about this. One, because I struggled with infertility and faced those moments where it's one of the ultimate moments in life where you have to decide whether you're going to surrender and give up and walk away, or you're going to hang in there and keep fighting and coming out of the nosedive, which you did so many times. Sometimes you have to walk away and sometimes you have to hang in there. And this was not one of those things, and often is not one of those things that you can walk away from and just say, you know what, I give up. I think there was a part, it seemed to me, and you can correct me if this doesn't sound right. It sounds like there was a great surrendering, not a giving up, and not a listening to people telling you that you can't, but a surrendering to your dream and saying like, yes, please, I'm surrendering. I'm letting you take over, and sort of letting go into that and relaxing, not relaxing, but leaning into it a little bit, surrendering. Because like you said, the medical world is going to tell you, and I love people, but there are some people who are very one way and another way, and there's no gray area, and they will tell you that you can't. And you had that coming at you at all directions, and you still said, no, but I'm going to, because like you said, I'd rather die than not live my dream. And that just fills me, and imagine so many women with so much possibility and so much love and so much emotion, because there are a lot of people telling us that we're not going to do something. And I truly believe, I'll say one last thing. I really, truly believe that all of this is training for when you do have your child and you still have people telling you what's what. And at the end of the day, the mom knows. And you'll still have the medical field saying like, no, they're not dyslexic. No, there's not a medically something. There's not, you'll have people telling you no, and the mom just knows. And I felt like this with my children. All of that I went through was training for when they're here. And now I know how to really listen to myself. And I love my husband, but I'll listen to myself over what my husband thinks about what my kids are feeling and going through, because I just know. It's training, it's preparing.
That is so true. And that is Shelly, thank you for that. And Karine, oh my gosh, your story is so inspiring. And there's so many things that I was taking note as you were speaking. First of all, just the idea of not giving up on your dream and really believing, we talk a lot about women and midlife and society and patriarchy and, just the whole idea of once a woman becomes this age or is in this stage of life, they are this. And how we are as a generation redefining what that means. And we're really kind of like, no, wait a second, we are not that, and then there's this movement of women that will hopefully carry on. I know that absolutely will carry on to the generations behind us, but it's up to us right now to spread the word, to be able to really let these women know. And, Shelly and I wanted to create this podcast, not just about being, a creative or being any mom in a creative field or not, because being a mom is the most creative job in the world. But to also, really touch upon this subject, which is, a lot of women are having children later in life. And, we go through so much in midlife, with our own bodies and the changes that happen and the hormones and everything that, there's really not a lot of research done on that, but a lot of these words coming at us, about, no, well, this is where you are. This is what you have to be. And so I really appreciate this story. It's so inspiring. I love the never give up on your dream. I mean, it's one thing to hear it, but to actually really hear your story, it's just unbelievable. And your journey through infertility and through this whole journey to motherhood was a long time. It wasn't just 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. I mean, you did not give up, and that is so inspiring. And another thing that I wanted to add too, I mean, I have so many things, is when you talk about that period of co-creating during those 10 days, I love that so much. And I actually remember my infertility story. I never did IVF, but I did, struggle for years, and I had a few miscarriages, and I had arrived at a point where, because I was 40, I thought, well, maybe I'm going to adopt, and went through the whole process of meeting with someone and, was going in the direction of adoption. And there was something about when I finally, at that point, kind of surrendered to the idea that I would still be a mother, and that's okay, that if it wasn't my lineage, and that I could, be a mother, my body relaxed. And I actually also went to Mexico on vacation with my sisters and with my mother, and we had the best time. It was a really wonderful time. And it was when I came back from Mexico, having had the meeting with the adoption woman, and then going to Mexico, coming back pregnant naturally. And it was almost like my body, in a way, had relaxed and had said, like you said, I am going to be a mother. And so there's something magical about, I don't know, that time and the state of mind. And anyway, it was very inspiring. So yes, thank you for sharing that incredible story. And you are such a beautiful pregnant mama. That was when I saw you. Oh my gosh. So beautiful. So beautiful. Now that you're a mom, what are the changes that you are noticing? Obviously, you touched upon being a single mom and finding your community, which I think is very valuable to those moms out there. If you want to speak a little bit more about that, but also about just the shift of, your work, your life, your mission with this new addition to your life.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for sharing, both of you. You're a little bit of your story too, so I got to be present to your journey. Now that I am a mom, I was joking yesterday actually about, I was looking at Ciel, and he's starting to roll, and it's becoming a little more tricky. Do you think you're putting him somewhere, and then all of a sudden he's in somewhere else? You're like, oh, ooh. And I had a thought, I was like, oh, so I created a little song for him. I was like, oh, so I'm here to protect you, right? That's what my job is. You're just going to roll around and I'm just have to put my hands. So there was a little joke, but I feel that is such a thing about mother, the protecting aspect of us, so they are able to grow safely in the space and understand the geometry of it all, the texture of it all, so they can hopefully make choices. But right now they don't have that. So we're making choices for them and keeping them safe, and to find a way to do it so it's not in an anxious manner or a place of like, oh shit, I'm looking. So one of the things that I'm doing with him is to constantly invite him to join me and me joining him. So we make decisions together somehow. I'm not just on my own doing something, but we are working, dancing, playing together in this lifetime at this moment. We are a pair. It's not one over the other. I want that to be so important to me. So he understands that he has that impact. So this one thing that I work with, the other thing, the aspect of saying, for now, I am the person that is taking care of him. And I also have been very careful about choosing who will be the godmother and who will be the godfather. I believe in those two roles to be very important. They're not just a title. They are making me lean with a little more peace, because I am the sole provider of his life. If anything happens to him, so right now I'm working on a will and and making sure that my finances and everything that I have that I own or whatever will go onto a trust fund. So we're working on that level. But I even woke up this morning going like, shit, I got to finish this will. I've got to finish this will. And death happens all the time at any given time. I could be gone today or tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It's not a thing. So it's like, let me make sure that he's supported the best that I could. Yeah. And another way of supporting him, I'm looking at him going like, okay, I'm 54. 20 years from now, I'll be 74. He will kind of like go through his, graduation or whatever that is. I intend to be looking fine during his graduation. I intend to be healthy. So I started to do my legs work yesterday and my abdomen, because I had this emergency C-section. So they had to cut my abdominal layers and all those things. So my body is not in shape right now, but I'm like, okay, you got to get in shape, because you actually have to carry this child. He's now 11 to 12 pounds, but he's going to get bigger. I have to carry the child. I have to carry the stroller. I have to figure out how I move through the world without hurting myself. So being very intelligent in going, like literally, I've never done this, but carrying weight, like having weight things, density of my bones. I'm like, I'm not playing. I am not playing. This is as serious as me saying, I love you. Like I'm saying to you, this is another thing. I'm like, I love him so much. And because of this, I need to make sure that I make very wise decision along the way, because I did get him at 54 and my body is whatever it is at that time that is powerful, then I need to keep it powerful. I need to keep her very efficient. So those are the things. Mission-wise, more than ever, I want to continue to inspire people and women to continue to be their most authentic, powerful, divine self. That is one thing that's important to me. Out of the pregnancy and I was like, what? I actually think seriously that men in the world should be slightly bowing to every woman that's pregnant. And in fact, maybe every woman in general, because you may not know if they're pregnant or maybe they got pregnant, they were a mother somewhere down the line. I feel seriously, this is a mishap in our society to not understand what women are really all about. And I believe because they don't know that, meaning the men and the humanity in general doesn't pay attention, it's easier to go to war. It's easier to mistreat somebody. But if you knew the miracle that it takes to make a life, if we were to really pay attention to how life is being built and created through a woman body and life, we will not be that easily taking a life away. That's what I think. Being pregnant was the best thing ever. Hard and challenging, but having this, and you know that, right? And all the women that are here are soon to be women, but having this thing being built inside of you, like building teeth one week, building like freaky ear, a sphincter is being built today. I'm like, what? I'm building a sphincter. And you know what? Another thing that's so cool is like, for a period of time, you have two hearts. You freaking expanded. Two heart beating inside of one human. No, it's the only time that would happen, by the way. You know what I mean? When we are like, anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say. I also want to say that, yeah, not being with like a father or a father figure, right? Like not having that. I had to let go of that idea that it was the only way. And whenever I felt a certain way, like I remember the baby was maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm on my own with this baby. I had a C-section. Thankfully, my sister from France came to spend 1 week with me here. The first week where you have to take the baby, nurse, but you can't even move really because of the C-section. So it was to me, the first 2 weeks are so powerful of people having to come. People send me food. People they build, some friends of mine came and built the furniture in the house. Look, at that point I was done. I didn't know where was yesterday or tomorrow, being pregnant. So my friends, my tribe literally showed up and built them furnitures, and they bring the food, and it was a moment where you have to fall back on something. And if we have nobody to fall back on, you have to make phone calls. You have to figure out, you have to ask, which was a big deal for me. Asking, I'm like, done my life since I'm 17 on my own. I don't ask anything. I deal with it, right? And as a dancer, all of that, you're like, just go at it, but it wasn't the way. Even now, like if I have to go take the subway, they don't always have the escalator or the elevator. If you are with a damn stroller, Duna or not Duna, whatever the hell you're carrying. And I say to myself, back in the day, I will be looking at mothers. I'll be like, never would I do that. I will never do this in New York City. And here I am, 54 years old with a damn Duna and a child. But I've realized something. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to ask. And I actually am thinking that the people that want to help me want to have a relationship with him, not me particularly. They're here to support a being of light. And this is actually an exchange that happens while they're carrying the stroller down or up. So me asking is actually agreeing that exchange is being made. It's not about me. It's not about, can I do it alone or not? It has nothing to do with it. Ask support. Ask. Same thing for going up my apartment. I have stairs. I wait until I see one human being coming and say, excuse me, can you please help me put the stroller up? People love it. And I usually choose young ones so they can have like the mission of like, I've done something great today. Or maybe someone that nobody talks to. I would kind of help. And then that moment is like peace, a moment of peace. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I truly, we do need people around to do this because the baby is demanding, their lives are demanding, but it's also about us being willing to ask, help.
Yeah. We have talked about this on another podcast before about how despicable it is that New York City does not have elevators I don't even know ADA wise how they get away with that, but like, it's been such a topic for us before. And for me too, like I had both babies and it's really, really hard. I agree with you with having getting the help and having that community step in. How New York is that? New Yorkers are helpful post 9/11, especially. That is such a New Yorker thing to like know. And I will say, from my perspective, I don't think I've ever had a time where someone wasn't there to help me. Someone I don't know. Someone's always there. And to your point, like you look for the person who you want to help you with that. But it's such a New York thing. And that's how New York is that. We step in to help each other in New York. It's a misconception elsewhere.
Yeah.
We are helpers and we help each other and we're there for each other.
You know, what's so interesting is I love hearing and being brought back to, I was in New York too. I had my 2 babies in New York as well. And I was just getting all of these memories when you were talking about the subway. But we've talked about the importance of community as the children get older. So my children are now 10 and 11. And Shelly, yours are the same?
10 and 12.
10 and 12. But in this journey of, that we've been through in the past decade, it continues to be a challenge to ask for help. And it's really hard. I mean, I didn't ask for help until I think just a couple of years ago, when I finally sort of went through this unraveling period, and I decided to switch everything and really focus on my mental health and really kind of find myself again, and realize the importance of self-care and asking for help, because it was so hard for me to do. I like the fact that you say, and I think that could really switch my point of view when I'm continuing to ask for help, is thinking of it as being in service to this child and like coming together for this being of light, because, these children are that. They are exactly that. And, coming together for that and not having it feel like it's a selfish choice. Don't know. It's so hard. It's so interesting how we find ourselves feeling selfish or and we shouldn't. And I love the fact that, yes, everyone should bow to us. Why do we always feel like we're less than that? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm so with you. The idea also of like letting a community support us, what we do, the biggest job in humanity ever, is because the job, that job, quote unquote job, becoming a mother, sustaining life, giving life, sustaining life, and protecting life, and then giving birth, right, and then raising, because that job hasn't been seen as something as important for some reason. It doesn't have all its coloring out there. It's like, oh, you just do that. No, you just don't do that. Like, first of all, something that dawned on me one day, I was pregnant, maybe 6 months, 7 months. So I don't see my feet anymore, right? At this point, you can't see your feet. I'm stepping out of the shower. There's a little bit of wobbling because the weight is forward and not where it's usually are. And I have to make sure that I step properly. It's wet behind me as I have to step. And it dawned on me, I was like, wow. For anybody to be alive in this whole life that we're here right now, billions of people that are walking around right now, for people to be alive right now, there has to be about one human being that decided that they will protect your life. Because at that moment, as a mother, the baby was inside. I did everything I could to step properly out of the shower so I wouldn't fall. I wouldn't fall on the belly. I would not hurt the baby. So how many times do we do that through the pregnancy, where you protect the child? So anybody today, even you, people that may have issues with their mom, whatever may have happened, out of the relationship, there should always be a moment where you think about that person protected my life for 9 months. It needed to be protected. I remember going in a subway where I didn't feel okay. I was pregnant and there was a feeling in the subway that wasn't right in that car where I was. I walked away right away. I was like, walk away. So it was to me, it was just like, well, even that, that simple thing about going, like, if I'm alive today, someone actually protected me for 9 months. And that woman is my mother. So even if you don't have anything to do with the mother now, just to even realize that moment, it's so important. And I feel that we have been busy building amazing things, and we continue to do this as very young humanity, like the force forward, we're building this, we're making this. And the yin part of us, the feminine part of us, the one that creates life, that makes life, has been somehow put on a second, underneath for some reason, when actually they're the one making life. What are you doing? What are we doing? If I hear one more person having like a stupid comment about women or whatever, I literally have to say, I put you on earth. What in the world are you talking about? Basics, basics. And I think the woman in general has got to bring back they have to bring back their stand as life giver. Even if for some reason it didn't happen, you're still a human being that is made to give life. And that doesn't take away your power. Like your power is forever inside of you, ever. It's like we are so lucky to be females, because that is so powerful. Like, it's like, and whenever I feel, I don't know, doubting about anything, like, oh my God, can I do this? Like right now I'm working on building my own company, my own curriculum or whatever that is. But even that moment, I'm like, do it. There's no better way to do your dreams than to do the dreams. It's actually doing it. Even if I'm doubting about it, I am someone who is a creator. You are a creator. You're a creator. All of us are creators here. So it's kind of like we could create anything we want. We create life. That's powerful. Yeah, go ahead, Shelly.
That's the whole intention of this podcast, right, Cher? Like, we talk about this all the time, that the most creative that you're ever going to be is to be a mom, whether you literally create life. And in your story, oh my gosh, how creative did you have to be? Yeah. Like, every twist and turn, you had to create a new opportunity to make this happen. And it's unbelievable what you did. And, it would have been a choice for you to say, you know what, I'm going to walk away, like you did a couple of times. And then you went right back in and said, you know what, I'm more creative than that. I'm going to figure out another way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. We so stand with you on that idea of just like being a mother is the most creative, being a female, creating life. And even if you're not creating a life in your belly, you are creating the means to make yourself be the protector of a child or a being or a person you're giving life.
I also, there's this part of me of the connection between the mother and the child, even if the child is not here yet, and to start a relationship. I remember having this dream. I thought it was going to be a girl. And because my mom and I were so tight, and my mom passed 2 years back, and I was just kind of like, I'm probably going to have a daughter so I can continue this conversation. Actually, when he came out, I was like, oh, it's a boy. I was like, oh, what? Did you
know? Did you know? Okay, you didn't know.
No, I didn't know. I didn't want to know. My friends could know. I left them the piece of paper that said whatever the gender it was. But for me, it was called Baby M, Baby Miracle, for the entire time until he came out. You know what I mean? And that day was like, oh my goodness, I end up with a boy. I was like, what do I do? But then I realized, I was like, my karma with men had been so complicated. It's so not good between my father, which was good, but tumultuous. My brother is like a shit show. I mean, so I was like, here I go. Here I am having to clean this up.
It makes sense, right?
It makes sense completely. And to do it with with an amount of being, I'm so honored. I'm honored that a boy will have showed up. I'm like, what? That's some balls you have, Yellow. That's some balls you have to come here with me who have been like tumultuous with all male. I'm like, wow. Okay, so I'm working on it, right? There's a lot of work there. But I feel that the relationship is important, the relationship of figuring out with them and to establish a relationship that the mother, like for instance, I wanted to know if I could travel. I was 4 months pregnant, 4 or 5 months pregnant. I wanted to go to Tanzania. And I was working there, the same people that I worked with in Egypt. I was meditation and all those good things in those very interesting places. Tanzania was one of them. So I was like, can I go? I'm 5 months pregnant. Can I go there and freaking tent and safaris and all those things? I knew that the only way for me to figure this out was to ask the baby. Sorry. Yeah. You get to say hi, actually.
Oh my
God. This is Kim.
What?
Oh my goodness. He's so beautiful.
You are beautiful together. You are beautiful.
Goodness. I was about to say, wait, I'm starting to leak over this
It's
outfit,
time.
all over this outfit. And I was like, oh yeah, forgot to put the bra.
It's like an alarm clock, the leaking. I always, right? It's just, you feel the tingling and you go, yep, it's time.
So, yes, so I said to myself, I said, the only way to know if I can travel, it wouldn't be to ask the doctors. I mean, I can ask them, they can give me their opinion. But I really wanted to ask my child, would you be okay if we travel? And can we have, or is it not okay? So I had a dream, and I established a relationship in the dream with the baby, going like, can I ask you questions? It was kind of a daydreaming. It wasn't like at night, but I dreamt that I met the soul and I met them before they came. So I said to her, it was a her at the time, and I said to her, would you be okay if we start to communicate together? It was like in 2 or 3 months mark. So she said yes. I was like, okay. So then in my mind, for me, I was like, whenever I ask a question to my baby, I will never doubt the answer. This is going to be a straight line. No, oh, I don't know if she said, no, I'm going to know because the conversation is happening. So when the Tanzania trip came up and I settled down and started to chanted Nam Myoho Renge Kyo for a long period of time. And then I asked her, I was like, is that okay for us to travel? And if it's not, can let me know. And I heard, no, it's good. I was like, okay, we're going. So we went to Tanzania for 10 days, in a safari. I did get sick and I had to go back, a little earlier, still 10 days. I wanted to stay longer. Got sick, called my doctor in Mexico. And I was like, Doc, I haven't been feeling good. I've been throwing up. And he was like, you're coming home immediately. So that too, having this very good relationship with the doctor, for me, because I don't have that second person with me, I needed to establish very secure pillars that I can lean on at any given time.
So important.
The little hand, I don't know, listeners, I don't know. I know you can't see this, but there's a little hand in the frame just grabbing close to the heart. This is just beautiful to be in the presence of you and your son.
Oh my God, what a joy. I appreciate both of you for doing something like this, as women around the world need to be reminded of their power. We need to be reminded of how much our voice needs to be heard in the difficult places, and our mission as creators have to continue to happen. There's so much learning for me as well as a mother, going like, how do women do it in difficult space like Ukraine and Israel and Gaza? And I'm like, wow. Like, I know what it takes for me to feel like I'm supporting him. What if I couldn't? Places in Africa maybe where they don't have enough food, or any of those places. I'm like, how do they feed their children? So there's feeding the children with your milk and with food, but it's also feeding your children with the spiritual nutrition. You could be in a country where you have all those amazing things, but you can't feed your child nutrition, spiritually. So all of those, I really appreciate your podcast, and in putting back putting back the vision, putting back, it's blurry. It's like people are in trance. Like, no, put it back. No, I actually do know what I'm talking about. Not in an arrogant way at all, but in an aligned way. I know what I'm talking about, and I know what I want to do with that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people aren't speaking. So thank you.
Oh, we are so, yeah, it's, Shelly and I started talking about this podcast back during the pandemic. I think we started through social media. I noticed that whenever I would post something about being a mother, I would get this influx of messages from moms all over that would just message me. And I had this feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm not alone. And it felt so good. The community felt so good. And Shelly and I were talking, and we were sharing so many stories about what we were going through at that time. And we then, started thinking, there is such a need for this community, because we can't, during the pandemic, obviously we were all alone. We were all isolated, so that was, a heightened time for mothers. But just in general. And, I started writing. I think that, I was writing for my own sake, but I think I was asked to do an interview because I did Dance Lab New York, and they wanted to talk to me. They wanted to do like a little, I think it might've been a social media, something for social media around Mother's Day, but they wanted to kind of highlight the fact that I was a mother and I was a choreographer. So I started writing even more. And that's when all of these like thoughts started coming out. And then I shared it with Shelly, and immediately we just started having these talks. And then we thought, we need more community. We need this. It's so important, And so it took a while for us to actually start making this happen, but we're just so happy. It feels, the energy is just, that you're in the flow, or that you've tapped into something greater than yourself when it just, everything just falls into place, and like all of these beautiful people are coming together, and it just brings us so much joy doing this, and we're so honored to have you here. Oh my goodness, this is so inspiring. I love it. It's so perfect.
I don't even know that inspiring is the word. Is there a greater word than inspiring? Because you are it on all the levels. And, I'm sitting here watching you feed your son, and all I can think about is like, women have been doing this since the beginning of time, taking care of 8,000 other things and feeding their child from their body. And it's just, I feel like there's this misconception of like, you have to sit down with a rocker, and like, sometimes you do initially, there are struggles, and like, I'm not taking away from that. But once you're in it and you're able to, produce milk, and you start to figure it out, you're doing 8,000 things. I remember having my 2-month-old and trying like a mommy and me workout class. First time mom, I was just like, okay, where am I? And there was a mom on the ground with her 7-month-old breastfeeding. She's laying there doing the curls with the weights. And all I could think about was like fear, right? I'm like, you're going to drop that fucking weight on that kid. Like I was like, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, again, bow down, taking care of a million things at once and feeding your child. It's unbelievable.
It's brilliant. I recently, I just went to the North Pole with Ciel. So we just came back. We just spent the same community doing embodiment practices, and on a boat. He had his first, boat, his first plane. And at first I was like, can I? I was like, I got to figure this out, because my life cannot be stopped. I got to dance with him. I got to learn to dance with him. And that meant I was in the plane, and at one point my hands were too full. I had a bag and a stroller, not the stroller, but a bag and a backpack and all those things. And there was this gentleman by me on the left side, and I had to deal with all the luggage or whatever. I said, sir, would you mind? And I just gave him Ciel. It was so funny. This guy was like, Uncle. I'm thinking that anybody around like a meter away from me, they're all uncle and aunties of Ciel's. Therefore, they're family. Let's go.
I love that. I love that.
Anybody, they attract what they need. They really do.
I love this idea. That is really, viewing it like that is really calling in your immediate village.
Yeah.
And flying with the village on that airplane, man, like that, you really do. You don't have enough.
Yeah. You find them. There is this thing that I wanted to share with you guys that I've been working on, Shakti, which helped me greatly. Shakti, the divine feminine, right? The divine feminine that is in the Indian lineage. And something that I've been working with this year was working on the different deities of the woman. And in the Indian lineage, or the yoga lineage, we hear a lot about the men. It's very men-oriented. The yoga is very men-oriented. I mean, you guys know I do yoga, right? So it's like, but I was wondering, I was like, where are the women? What the hell's going on here? So I started to really work on it and study. And so I'm doing workshops, finding the deities every 3 months. I speak about a deity specifically, because each deity is so different. And one is like, let's say Kali, right? You have the Kali deity, which is much more like, if you F with me, I F with you, but on the next level, be ready. Okay. There's another one that's the Sita, which is all love and all like, like how much love can be. Lakshmi, who is much more about the abundance and the harmony of things, believing in how things fall exactly in place the way they're supposed to be, and multiplying that energy, right? All of those is about multiplying that energy inside of you. So doing that has been really helpful to me as well, because there are different facets of our lives. And a lot of time we haven't cultivated those facets. And I feel that we spend a lot of time outside of ourselves trying to figure shit out, excuse my French. But I mean, what about if you spend that much energy inside and cultivate the different sides of you that can actually deal with the situation a lot better? So yeah, this is, to me, it's like when I look back on how to harness woman capacity and divine feminine Shakti, it is a practice because we have been out of practice. So it's kind of like tapping into that part of us, like, oh, no, I don't do that. Here we are walking the walk of some other people, like not even ours, ours. A man has decided that women can only do this, or you can only, like, the culture has decided. But when you tap into dormant but present sides of yourself that are so powerful, and you make that a practice, it's kind of fun to live. You know what I mean?
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
As a woman.
I need to do more of your workshops, Karine. I'm going to do that. That's going to be my mission this year. Yes, because it in my life right now, I do. And we will make sure that in our show notes we include everything, so that listeners can come to you in every way. Because I think it's very important that more women are tuned into what you have to offer, and men too, obviously. But we speak of the divine feminine. Oh, Ciel, he's looking right at us.
Hi, beauty.
Right at us. Hi.
Eyes. Oh.
Hi.
Oh.
Oh.
I see something really cool. A foot.
Oh, the feet. Those were my favorite when they were babies. I couldn't get enough of the baby feet. Oh, look at that foot. Look at that foot.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for being here and for everything you're saying and doing and walking the walk that we all need to see and mimic. And I feel so transformed by this conversation. I really feel like such a great shift in just the way I feel right now from hearing you and being with you and your beautiful son. And we're just so grateful that you have taken this time, really, because we know how valuable time is. It doesn't just come freely. Like it is a thing now. And thank you for sharing your beautiful son with us, and you and your morning and your time. We're eternally grateful.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much. And a good thing is that my nurse has arrived. So I have someone as the nurse here. Isn't that amazing? Supporting me as well. So yeah. Thank you, women in the world, for being women. I decided that in my next lifetime, I already put the order. I want to come back as a woman.
Yes.
For at least the next 50 years.
Yes. Love that.
Oh my gosh, what a powerful statement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karine. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Shelly.
Bye, my love. Mwah.
Creative Mamas Unplugged is produced by Breatheasy Productions with music by Jeremy Jurin. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give my mama 5 stars and keep coming back. Thanks to us kids, there are plenty of stories to tell, and you are not alone.
We are inspired by you. Thank you for joining our Creative Mamas community. Please give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, support Creative Mamas Unplugged on Patreon to get your name in the credits, receive extra content, and earn some fun prizes. With this, we can keep creating, uplifting, and growing this incredible community together. We love you so much. Applause.